The first team of our list of Western Conference teams, as will be a theme, is a very, very good team.
Yeah.
A contender, probably on the lesser side of public opinion contenders. We're looking at the Denver Nuggets. So the Denver Nuggets last year, again, guys, we're going off of total wins over under. This is not really a prediction on how they'll finish in the playoffs, etc. Although that conversation might flow there as it tends to do so. We're just going to go with the Vegas odds over under. So this last season, 57 wins. They finish tied in wins with OKC, but second overall. This year, it's dropped to 52 and a half wins this regular season. Max, how are we feeling about 52 wins over under?
Okay, I think I'm slamming the under. I cannot talk myself into this team at all. I know they won 57 games last year. They are one of the few teams in the West that legitimately got worse, and I think by solid margin. I think they're also going to have to figure out a lot of chemistry things. Jamal Murray hasn't been Jamal Murray in about a year now. In fantasy wise, I think that's great if you have Jokic on your team, for example. If you want to win games, he's now going to have more pressure than ever. Uh, I still think he's a top two player in the NBA, right? But I think his supporting cast, losing KCP specifically, is drastic. I mean, KCP shot 40% from the field, from three last year. I know he only scores around 10 points a game every year, but he's also a really high-end perimeter defender, right? For example, your other two guys on the perimeter are Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., who are not plus defenders, either one in their own right. Now you're going to have Julian Strawther, who actually has been really good in the preseason, and I did really like him coming out of college, but I've talked about this previously. I'm always concerned about their depth, and right now I could argue that their fifth best player or sixth best player is Dario Saric.
Yeah, that's fair. And speaking of depth, so thinking about your points about when Jamal Murray is healthy versus not, went back and looked at the 21 and 22 seasons where the Nuggets, I believe, ended up losing in the semis and then in the first round. They were 47 and 25 and then 48 and 34. And even in the the bubble, different story because fewer games played. But the season they won the chip 2 seasons ago, they won 53 games. So man, this is a tough one. I'm going to actually, my God, I'm very unshaky on, but I'm gonna lean against all of your points, which are totally fair. I think they got worse in many ways and concerned about Jamal Murray's health. I'm a little bit more optimistic on what Russell Westbrook. I think now that he is going to be playing with a guy that is obviously, hear me out, obviously the best player in the league. This is a theory I have about players that sort of seem like they can't really do much to help. And I get that his style doesn't really work a lot of times conducively with offenses that he's been a part of previous seasons. I think if he can get more involved in cutting and being more of an active off-ball guy, I get it's hard, but he's been in the league for a long time. He's been an MVP candidate. Maybe this is a season where he can figure it out. Gonna play in heavy devil's advocate, but if anybody can make a player who's not that good look much better, it's Jokic. And so that's one thing. Two, I'm obviously banking on the health of Jamal Murray, but I think they have that consistency with Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon still on the team. Peyton Watson can take another step, Christian Brown as well. So, and I also think Jokic has definitely proven to be the best player in the NBA over the last few seasons. So with all that in mind, I'm actually gonna peek over the 52 and a half win mark, even though I fully get where you're coming from.
Okay. Listen, I respect the Russell Westbrook redemption arc that you just painted. Like if he does those things, he will be a good addition. I just personally am skeptical. But I just do want to make a point on the Nuggets 3-point shooting. I think you lose KCP and he's never been like a 3-point sniper, right? But this is a guy who gets up 4 threes a game. And their team in general is not a team that attempts a ton of threes. They've been percentage wise pretty good, but they've never attempted a ton. And last year, this is one of my issues with them last year, actually, that I'm worried about them again this year. Last year, they were second to last in the league in 3-point attempts a game. They're still shooting 37% from three as a team, but the Lakers shot 38% from three as a team, for example. We don't consider them a super great 3-point shooting team. So that's like a really major concern I have, especially in today's NBA, where right now the West floor spacing is going to be a big deal. And if anything, they just cram their spacing around Jokic. Um, like you were saying, if anyone can make it happen, Jokic can just stand at the 3-point line, and that's your spacing right there, right? So like, you know, he can make it happen, but I'm very concerned because also like 2 years ago, for example, when Jamal Murray was out and they did win 48 games, for example, they were a top half of the league 3-point shooting team in attempts. Like they were taking a lot of threes. And I think in today's NBA, that's such a big deal. And in terms of helping your ceiling, and that's a big concern of mine, especially losing KCP. Like I think that spacing,
Hmm.
unless Schroeder can come in and play 30 minutes a game, and if he does, they're gonna if Schroeder can come in and play 30 minutes a game and be good, they're gonna win 55 games, right? Like at some point they can overcome their depth, but I'm pretty worried about that, especially if Jamal Murray does not get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I think to your point, I don't know if I take the 3-point concerns too much to heart. Last year, right? They were very low in attempts, and they made to the game 7 of the semifinals and won 57 games in the year that they did attempt fewer threes than the Lakers. They ended up beating them in that series. So I don't know if it always translates to wins based on your team, but it is a concern that might haunt them in the playoffs. Maybe this also haunts them in regular season wins. Maybe it takes them some time to get cohesive. I feel like this is going to be a team we're going to talk about a lot because this feels like a very much which way are you going to go this year kind of season for this franchise. So very excited in general. Um,
And
but yeah,
if Brown and Christian Brown and Peyton Watson, if they take any steps, and that just adds so much depth, like maybe we're looking back 2 months from now thinking that we're idiots, you know?
right.
So, there is always that potential. But honestly, I was really big on Peyton Watson, but last year, like, he shot 27% from three or something like that. And like,
Hmm.
that's pretty crippling at times. Especially on a team that has like Aaron Gordon, who is a good 3-point shooter and is like streaky from three. But like, you don't want, like, Aaron Gordon shot 29% from three last year, so like, you
Right.
can't really play Watson and Gordon when you like, because Jokic is a floor spacer, but he also wants to operate in the paint. So it's like then it causes a lot of problems. Anyways, I'm gonna take the under. Honestly, I feel pretty strongly about this. Like I think the West is just that good. Like I don't think the Nuggets are that bad. I just think the West is that good.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think that's fair.